Today we will be talking about how the muscle is able to bend and move.
The first thing you need to know are a few vocabulary terms, some of them being troponin, calcium, tropomyosin, actin, ATP, myosin, phosphate, ADP, sarcomeres, and neuromuscular junctions.
These are all necessary for the movement of muscles. To begin, muscles are all separated and separated by things called myofibrils. Myofibrils have things called sarcomeres in them. This is where the actual movement of the muscle is able to take place. The sarcomere is built up of the main middle strand, which is myosin, and the outer strands, which are actually actin. These two help to actually be able for the muscle to move. The muscle moves by having calcium, which is released by neurotransmitters sent by the brain, that releases calcium for the troponin, which is the guard cells, so to speak, of the actin, and it allows for the myosin to move and actually attach the actin, which allows for movement of the muscle. How it goes is, once the calcium is released, troponin is attracted to the calcium and will try to bind to the calcium. This then is brought along by the tropomyosin, which gives space for the actin and allows for the myosin to be able to move. The only way for the myosin to move, though, is when an ATP is bound to it, and the actin and the myosin is moved into the ready position. Once the ready position occurs, then the myosin will actually attach and go forward and cling onto the actin, which allows for the bending of the muscle and the constricting of the muscle. This then forces the muscle to move and allows for our limbs to move. The way nerve signals work is that they send signals to each of our bodies and tell them to release certain things. In the case of how muscles move, neurotransmitters are sent down to the area and tell specific areas to release specific chemicals, such as calcium, which is needed for the entire process. They are released in areas called neuromuscular junctions, which allow for the calcium to be released into the cells. This, of course, have some drawbacks, as if the neurotransmitter cannot get to the area it needs to be, it won't be able to do its function. This can be seen in carpal tunnel, whereby when the nerve is cut off and restricted from where it should be, then the neurotransmitter won't be able to get to where it is supposed to be. In terms of rigor mortis, the reason rigor mortis occurs is that once a chemical function such as this process occurs, there is not enough chemicals for it to go again, and so it remains in a specific position. For example, once the first action of constricting occurs, there is no way for it to release back because there is not enough chemicals. There is no glucose, there is no glycogen, there is no process that allows for the creation of ATP because, well, you're dead.